Welcome everyone to SEO Office Hours. My name is Michael Chidzey. I'm an SEO here at Good Signals. And part of what we do, along with special guests, are these office hour sessions where people can jump in and ask their questions around their website and web search. By the way, nobody here is in the hot seat and we might not know all the answers, but multiple heads thinking about a problem should help. We have a bunch of questions submitted already, as you can see, which we'll go through. But if there's anybody here live on the call that would like to ask any questions, feel free to flag yourself in the chat functionality, which will be monitored. Also, there's usually a bunch of SEOs on the call. Please continue to share your perspectives. I think that's one of the best things about SEO Office Hours. It isn't just the four of us speaking, but others sharing their thoughts and ideas, which will be summarized as we go. Like every week, with me today is Juliana Turnbull, also known as SEO Joe Blogs. Morning.
Good morning. Hello. And hello, everyone. Welcome to SEO Office Hours, our 38th episode. Welcome, David, Frank, Simon, could be John, Cindy, Olu, Tibilo, Neil, Benjamin, Ishant, Emily, Jiraj. So we've got a full office hours here today. Right in the chat where you're calling in from. We already have 4 cities from us 4. We've got London, I'm in Barcelona, and we have Sabiha in Dubai and Ahmed in Edinburgh. And I run here from Barcelona a remote digital consultancy business called Turn Global, and we help clients in fintech, finance, and SaaS industries. We work in SEO, social media, and event and webinar management. And also outside of that, we do events. We do Search Barcelona here in Barcelona and also Search London and online editions too. And write in the chat if you're interested in it coming and you can be part of our next event. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome our 2 special guests here today. We actually have a return special guest. Thank you very much. Sabiha was so good in our last episode back in February that we've invited her to come back to us. She's been in the industry for over 20 years and is the founder and CEO of the marketing consultancy called Nisa Digital and is based in the UAE. So she is dialing in from Dubai today.
Hello,
Sabiha,
thank you.
yeah, thank you for joining us. And Sabiha, I'm very impressed with the number of different awards and things that you're doing outside of the day-to-day. You are the recipient of the Top 100 Rising Women Power Leaders in Asia 2023. And you're member of the DBWC, the W2S, and the FCDC communities, and a judge at loads of awards like the Global Search Awards, MENA Search Awards, APAC Search Awards. So you're a very busy person. When do you have time to do other things?
Those are my other things. And being in the industry, it's always good to give back to the community. And I've made really amazing relationships being part of those communities and just help people with any questions they have. I've learned from other people as well. So it's a great way to just get ahead and know things, what's going on in the industry. Just like we have SEO office hours, it's just a great way to learn about new things that are going on. My sort of motto is that I don't call myself an expert in anything because that limits my learning. The moment you call yourself an expert, then you limit your learning and you're like, okay, I know everything about this subject. For me, I continuously learn and I just call myself somebody who's likes to learn a lot of things and just be part of the community. So I think that those are what makes me want to do so many things.
Well, thank you very much. And thank you for your contribution and coming back today. And I'm really pleased to also have Ammad join us. He's dialing in from Edinburgh today. He's an Edinburgh-based SEO professional. He has a passion for the creative and technical aspects of SEO. He works with small e-commerce, fashion, the retail and service brands across the whole of the UK. He helps to establish them, to get them a strong online presence through the long-term sustainable SEO strategies. He focuses on combining high-quality content and excellent user experience with in-depth technical expertise. He also has a postgraduate degree in marketing, and he believes in aligning all the marketing efforts with business goals, ensuring that his recommendations encompass best practices that not only rank well, but also resonate with the target audience and achieve, of course, those wider marketing objectives. We do have some great questions today, and we do have some great guests, and Ahmed can share with us some of his own case studies as well to answer some of these fantastic questions. So thank you, Ahmed, for joining us today. I'm going to share your bio in the chat.
Thanks for having me, Joe. Thanks for having me. And I hope that will contribute good towards the people who have asking questions and help them implement to get their websites at least some great visibility in the long run.
Thank you. Oh, no, we've had a few more people join us. Chris, Monse, Ian, Simon. So let us know where you're calling in from today, and I'll pass over to you, Mike.
Great. Ahmed, it's the Edinburgh Festival at the moment. What are you doing here? Why aren't you out?
I'm doing good for the SEOs out there. Fringe will wait. It's a long week, month to go as well. So yeah, we can have good time for the weekend for that.
Cool. So I thought I'd start with a question that I think everybody could probably help with, and we'll come back to it. So somebody's basically wondering if we have any recommendations for job boards that we've had success with. They're basically looking to hire somebody that has SEO skills. It's a marketing manager role. But if anybody's got some ideas of good places to publish job ads and stuff, feel free to let us know in the chat. And we'll jump straight to the next question. We'll come back to that if that's all right. Okay, so I'm a rather new travel blogger, only started seriously about 13 months ago. And with Google's whims, it's been a roller coaster. So my challenges are getting more traffic on one side and also finding freelancing work to supplement my income until the blog picks up some heat. Joe, do you mind sharing the URL? Is that okay? It may be a bit mishmashy as I'm learning by doing type of guy and write this and that and everything in between in the beginning and perhaps still. I got hit by an algorithm penalty in May, then almost recovered in July, and now getting hit by the update again. I'm open to any advice and ideas. So Joe's going to share in the chat for just people here. We won't actually say the website name. Sorry for the people watching on YouTube, but I just figured if others want to have a look, feel free to. Did any of you guys get a chance to have a look at the site? Ahmed, are you happy to go for it?
Yeah. Initially, the good news is the website looks really good. The way it is structured, the way they have segregated different cities and have relative content within each city, let's say how to get a money or how to replace the money or ATMs or how to get a train in a particular city in a particular domain. But the problem comes in when you search for that question in the search results, there's a total different intent comes up. That is not covering the single city, it's covering the whole place. Let's say if I'm looking for how to get a train in Cambodia, that's a whole different topic based on the environment of that country, as it says that they have only two train lines. So that becomes more complicated. So if you are trying to get more content which is covering the topic holistically, that might help you in the long run. Plus, since you're a travel blogger, it will be good if you have some good video content that can support your blogs in the long run. And obviously, you cannot cover the topic holistically because your expertise are limited to your own journey over there, but you can capture some other information from different websites or general blogs that how they are trying to cover the train journeys or something similar. Otherwise, I really like the way you have internally linked your website. You have segregated each city separately, but try to add more content, not just on your own experience, because you were just mentioning the experience you had, but try to add some more information about that particular area to get some more traction. Video content will definitely help you get more traction from the organic or other social platforms as well in the long run.
Amazing.
Thank you. Very thorough.
Yeah. Sabiha, did you get a chance to have a look at all at the site?
I think in terms of content, I agree with Ammad. Try to get some video content in because a lot of how-to contents, if they're supported with video, because you're essentially telling people how to do things, then it really helps with even ranking for video. Because right now, when I've searched for trade in Cambodia, I see that the video content is coming up first for me. So I think couple it with some video content that should help. Do as much original content as much as possible. That's also my recommendation. If you're not, if you are, then it's just about looking at different types of content that could rank.
Joe, do you have any
Yeah,
thoughts?
so there's a lot of tips there. So first of all, congrats on doing what you want to do and travel and see the world while also working. That's a great objective. I would say, to not repeat what other people have said, I'd also say to get traction, what I would do is actually perhaps interview other people that are digital nomads and find out some of their tips. You've got a lot of information about where you've traveled. You have some information around resources, some about money. But if you want to get a bit of traction, what I found is that sometimes when you interview other people and you have either a blog post or you do sort of a video series, and you're consistent with that, you do get a lot more traction. So I would look into that. And also, for example, regarding the money section, just on the money guides. So there's very little content at the top of it. And then the posts are all the same title, except for changing, obviously, the name. So money in Georgia, money in Indonesia, but it's all the same. So I would also look to see if you can change some of that. What's different about some the money in the different currencies or countries? Maybe some places don't use much card. Maybe it's all about cash. Maybe there's something you could do with charging a card instead of taking money out in certain countries, or maybe just having cash. Another thing is I would just look and see overall where you've got ads on your site. Do you need to have them in so many places? Is there an area where you can maybe just take them off? Are you tied into running those ads or not? Because there is quite a lot on some of the money pages. Yeah, and that's it for me.
Great. Yeah, just having a quick look as well. I guess it's only 13 months in, like you said, so it's a fairly new website. And actually, when you look at some of the pages, they're really cool. You've got obviously photos of you being there, and in my head, you're doing the right stuff. You obviously did see quite a big drop in rankings from about March onwards, and it's just picked up again recently. But it looks like it was only like a handful of actual pages or posts that this happened to, and that was the makeup of the traffic. So I would be tempted to look and see what else is ranking now and why that might be better than the posts that you have. I can see that you've updated a few of them recently, but I would keep them up to date and just try and work out why those other ones are being rewarded. But when I've seen this happen to a lot of travel blogs before, it's usually because they're using stock images, very generic descriptions and things like that. But at least in this case, you're in a lot of the photos, for example, which is good. But I would just say that I would keep blogging. What, Joe, have we got any comments?
Yeah, we do. Thanks everyone else for always adding into your comments. Someone's asking, what are the KPIs? Perhaps the drop in visibility is only for the keywords that are not so important for the site. Like you just said, I realize this is of no help at all. But yeah, I would actually look at Google Search Console and see where did you see the drop in visibility across what queries. And once you're saying unique content is hard, one thing she does is to look at things from a different angle or focus on one single aspect of the whole topic or experience. Chris mentioned that the performance is a bit slow and it's failing core web vitals. So perhaps look at maybe resizing some of the images. That would help. And it helps also and add a stronger foundation for your content. Just think about what you're measuring. So then what do you want to improve on? And just check maybe some competitors. What are they doing? So I'll share in the chat this website. I will mention it, but this is one that looks really good. He also arranges events here in Barcelona too. And I just think it's really good how he has structured his website. So maybe have a look at competitors in your field, ones that are not obviously super, super big, and see what they're doing well. Sabiha is also saying instead page titles, look at them. So instead of saying welcome to Central Asia, look at some of the top travel related keywords to Central Asia, and also look about your KPIs. So take a step back, spend some time thinking, what do you want to do for this site? What do you want to rank? And then produce your content on the basis of that. Thanks everyone for your input on this question.
Sabiha, I love that you were just adding into the chat there. Did you want to add anything else? You're welcome to just say it, by the way.
No, I don't. We have so many questions to go through. I thought of that a bit later, so that's why I just dropped it in the chat. So go ahead.
Okay, the next question that we were asked, how would you explain to an older generation client that SEO would benefit their business? And I guess, to be honest, it's not just older generation, it's anybody that doesn't necessarily understand SEO, right? And the impacts. Who would like to kick off on this one? Sabiha, are you okay to start?
Yeah, for sure. I think exactly what you said, Michael. There's still a lot of people who don't understand SEO, and it's not just the older generation. But I'd like to know what they mean by older generation. But maybe people who don't have exposure to digital marketing or any kind of thing at all. So it just could be anybody. I think when I understand older generation, I'm looking at maybe more senior members of an organization, maybe a managing director, or maybe a head of a company or a department. And if you are dealing with those kind of people, it's really looking at how you can translate SEO to what they think is important. If you're in-house and you're working with a manager that doesn't understand even the S of SEO, then it's more like educating them. So what I do is whenever I work with people who don't know SEO, I give them like an onboarding session before we get into the task. So I tell them what exactly is search marketing, what it really means, and you really put it in terms that they would understand and in really layperson's language. And you look at what they find important. So company heads, owners of companies and MDs, CEOs, they don't really care about the upper funnel indicators, KPIs. They want to look at how is this going to impact my business at the end of the day? What is going to really be helpful for my business? So it's about maybe starting from there and then looking at building up the story and saying this KPI will lead to this metric. And this is why we need to focus on these initiatives so that it will help with this KPI. And then it's really working with them. So for me, older generation would mean people higher up in the organizational ladder or people who don't understand SEO at all. So if you don't understand SEO as an agency, it's good to explain what it is before. I had a 70-year-old client a few months ago, and we had working with them for 1 year. And in our reports also, we had to customize it to write definitions every single time. So what do impressions mean? And those definitions were in the footnotes of the slides every time because they would forget every time we sent a report to them. So it's really about continuously communicating with them and telling them what it means and how it helps with their site. So that's how I've tackled it personally in my business.
Amazing. Emma, have you got anything to add?
I just talk the points that they think important, obviously not the revenue, but things that make clear sense. Like if you want to get fit, you have to go to the gym straight away and you won't see the results very first day. Or if you want to run a marathon, you have to optimize your body for that and it will take a long journey. Similarly, if you want to get traffic or clients from organic, then you have to optimize your website for that. I try to keep it simple so that it has a very long impact sometime because I don't send people into definitions. I'm not saying Sabiha is wrong because when I talk technical, it confuses them a lot and they think that this person is trying to get revenue out of our pockets. So I try to keep it simple that makes sense or things that are very easy to comprehend and tell them this is how you can get the best out of the SEO. And obviously you have to wait for every good thing in your life as well. So is SEO.
Joe, do you want to go next?
I think there are very good points that Sabiha and Ammad said. I don't have anything else to say apart from make sure that some of the people that you might be working with, not necessarily the older generation, but a lot of people don't say, I don't understand. So when you are doing reports for them or when you're outlining a strategy, you can include a glossary or you can actually just have everything in normal layman terms and then explain how that impacts the results. I do like how Ammad said that about obviously if you're training for a marathon or if you want to be consistent in the gym or lose weight or build muscle, it's going to take time. So it's going to be something that's a long process, but consistency is key. And I think perhaps one of the biggest things to try and explain to clients is the fact that it's not really going to be something that you do it for 1 month and then you see a massive increase. It's a long term. So we've got a couple of comments in the chat. So Simon saying that Sabiha, you're right. Put yourself in their shoes and understand where they're coming from. Monty saying don't give out too much information, just the necessary parts in a easy to consume and digestible way. If they weren't to learn SEO, then they can pay for an internal course, or you could actually include that as a workshop, really.
I think the workshop point is a valid point.
I just mentioned education.
Yeah. Because I've literally ran workshops across like sales functions for a previous customer just to make them understand SEO, because it was just to ensure that this was a non-e-commerce customer. So we had to educate the sales that they needed to convert the leads, and the leads were coming from the website. So there was a whole workshop around SEO and organic leads and things like that. So I think that's a valid point.
Okay, good. Yeah, if you try and include that in your proposal. Simon has a good point as well. He likes to get his wife to read through his reports. She pulls me up on the technical stuff every time. Good point. Chris has said that I explained it like this. So if marketing is a tap dancer on stage and sales is someone selling the shoes at the side of the stage or the side of the stage, then SEO is a spotlight. Quite a good one. It's a spotlight that ensures that the tap dancer is seen by the maximum of people in the audience. It helps direct the audience attention and increases the visibility of the performance, making sure people are aware of and actually interested in the show, which in turn, of course, drives more people to then buy the shoes. That's a very good analogy. Just a couple of comments like, I wouldn't try and converse with older people, look for the young ones, but as someone else says, old ones pay better. Yeah, so lots of comments. Thank you.
So from my experience, it's not necessarily been down to age, but actually tends to be if the sort of highest paid person in the room doesn't understand search, then that tends to be more of the challenge that I've had. I remember years ago, we're going back 20 years ago, actually not that far, 15 years ago, I did some work for a political party. And I remember that I was brought in there to basically talk about A/B testing and SEO and all these things that we could be doing and personalization and so on. And the problem that I found is the donors in the room who were basically paying for the campaign and so on didn't understand that stuff. And I just couldn't get through. And so they were very focused on key rings and t-shirts and mugs and all of that sort of stuff. And I just had to keep chipping away and keep explaining and running through, because everybody uses search in most cases. So like Sabiha was saying about getting into their shoes, but that was incredibly frustrating. And I just thought I'd share that because sometimes you just can't turn the ship basically, but we got there. Key rings are good, Simon says. Yeah, that's the way you win an election across the country, is basically buying key rings and giving them out. That is not the way. Okay, cool. Let's move on to the next question. I have a traveling site. The site also contains a blog with about 175 articles. But the landing page of the blog has a long URL that looks like this. It's /traveling-blog. I'm thinking of shortening this URL by redirecting it to /blog so that we have the shortest possible URLs for all the articles on the blog. The redirect would also include the previously mentioned 175 articles that already have organic traffic. Some of them have quite a lot of organic traffic. Is it possible that by redirecting these articles, I will lose their previous organic traffic, or could this strengthen them in the search or suffer in some way? Basically, they don't want to lose their current positions. And if they put all the redirects in place and make these changes, will they return to these positions over time? And if so, how long? Has anybody been through something like this before where you've had to move tons of URLs? Ahmed, go for it.
Right. So the first thing is like they won't lose ranking. They might see some initial drops just in case Google might be figuring out what is happening around. And obviously, since if the mapping is done all right, if the redirects are mapped properly, and the internal links or other links associated with those URLs are mapped properly, then everything will be fine. Don't worry about the initial drops, because everything, if you're getting traffic on the old URLs, you will get the traffic on the new URLs as well. One thing you have to make sure to update your sitemap with the new URLs. And if you see that they are not being crawled, just go for a URL inspection tool and they will get indexed recently. But don't remove those old pages just in case the redirects are not completed properly. One more thing is I have been doing the redirects for my current employer, and we have to move the redirects from the old system to the new system, and it involved a lot of new pages, and we mostly relied for 301 redirects. So far, I haven't seen any ranking drops. All of them are working properly. As I mentioned, initial drops were there, but obviously everything was mapped accordingly and the traffic was easily duplicated to the new URLs straight away. We didn't see a big drop that was, you can say, a worrying for us in the long run.
Great, amazing. Joe, what about your thoughts?
Well, actually, for a travel website, and if it looks like it has a long URL, I would actually use this as a time to perhaps clean up some of the older articles. You have 175, it says, so have a look and see, do you want to keep all of those if they're not driving the traffic? Or maybe it depends, your website is old and some of these other ones are not relevant. It's okay to get rid of some. So I'd use it as an opportunity to clear up some, to review your site and look at some of your previous traffic to those URLs, or your current and previous traffic, because maybe you had more traffic before. And then the other thing I'd ask is, do you really want to do this? What are the benefits going to be to do this? This is a lot of work. If you're doing it for the company and you have the resources, okay, great. But if you're doing this in your free time and you're struggling with time, ask yourself, do you really want to be doing this by yourself or with a friend? So those are my 2 points on this subject.
Amazing. Sabiha, do you have anything to add?
I think, yeah, they've covered it. Just have a proper plan in place and don't be afraid of drops. They should pick up if everything is done according to plan. So that's my only thing. A lot of people are scared about SEO, the impacts of search. So as long as you have your plans in place, make sure to do a thorough plan and implementation. It's all part of migrations as well. I know you just look at it for 3 months, make sure you keep monitoring it and then doing the changes you need to do. But yeah, don't be too scared to make changes. It'll come up, it'll pick up if you're doing it right.
Yeah, we actually have a few comments in the chat saying, I recommend only changing your URL structure if you're having serious problems. Tweaking things like this is like just a ton of work. It's a risk. There's a risk of getting it wrong and it has no positive effects. You get nothing useful out of a tweak like this. This is also emphasized by Monsi. Why are you looking to change a name? If you do a migration, it could be risky, regardless of the type of migration. Chris is saying that anytime he's done a thing like that, there's been a bit of a Google dance for 2 to 5 weeks, but overall they've ranked better because the URLs were clearer. This is based on clearing the service, is based on his experience. Simon said that over the past few years, I've constantly changed the URLs on my own personal site and then redirected everything correctly. Traffic has slumped, but he doesn't mind. Thanks, Simon. Either S is saying that migrations are tricky, weigh the pros and cons if something is working. And yeah, aesthetics, it doesn't matter as much. And yeah, Monty's saying it could take a bit of time for the rankings to catch up. So yeah, I would say we've got loads of answers for you. So I hope you take them on board and really the final decision is yours.
Yeah. I would just emphasize what you said, Joe, about do you really need to do it? Is this just an internal thing and it's something that matters to you and doesn't really matter to the users? Or is it something that people have said something to you about not remembering the URLs or always linking to the wrong pages or something like that? It's also not very big, like 175 articles isn't that much compared to some of the migrations that happen. And you could actually just test a few and see first. You're moving it to a URL on the same website, so that could be a possibility, and therefore you can always roll back if that's the case. But yeah, I personally, I think it's probably one of those things that matters to you more. I had a client years ago that wanted to move from news to blog, and that meant all of their blogs or news articles moving just like this. And I basically explained to them, because I'd worked with them for so long, that they had made that exact same change from blog to news in the first place, and chances are you'll probably want to do it again depending on the next head of brand or something. So maybe we should just leave it and fight back a little bit. And so I won that battle actually, which was good. Okay, because I feel like there's so many other things you could be doing, like writing new content or whatever. Okay.
I just wanted to say, sorry, to people that are joining us live, if you would like to be a special guest like Sabiha and Ammad, just sign up in the link that I put there, goodsignals.com, and then you can be a special guest. We are writing this show every Friday. We've only missed 3 Fridays. And for those that are not joining us live, that are watching the replay and you'd like to join us live, please also sign up there and Mike will give you the link to become part of our live attendee list. And you can be here joining us every Friday at 9:30 a.m. BST. Over to you, Mike.
Okay, great. By the way, we had a question that, again, people in the chat might be able to answer, because I think it's an it depends type question. So I'll just throw that out there, and then again, we'll come back to that, which is somebody's asked why Google Analytics doesn't rank #1 for Google Analytics. It ranks #2 in Tag Manager. Surely from sort of user signals and so on, it would make sense that it ranks #1. So just putting that out there, because I think that's not really going to help anybody. So I'm going to jump on
Interesting.
Well, but it is very interesting. Okay, this question. So a few weeks ago, you were talking about A/B testing in SEO. And we've had 2 questions on this. One is basically just around what it is and how you can use it for better SEO performance. And we had another question from somebody else about, if we think an idea is going to make the website better, should I test or just do it? Anybody doing any SEO testing here?
Yeah, I'm doing it for some local pages for a client. They have over 200 local pages. So we're just testing out the impact of the local pages on the overall site performance. and just looking at the whole structure and everything. So I think it's important when we're doing local pages, we're also looking at languages. So we're testing 2 different languages, whether we could do with English or we need to have the local language, because the local language is very difficult from a content management point of view. If we can just do away with the language and just work on the English page. And what we have found is that instead of going ahead and doing it for all 200 local pages, we started off with 10 and 10 very different locations. And we translated those pages, and then now we're seeing the impact. And so for me, I would always do a pilot run first with the testing and then see the results. If it comes out positive and you think it's going to work, then you can implement it across the site. So I always go with testing, but if it's a obvious change on the site, like maybe a keyword or something that you've seen that is like a data-driven decision that you have evidence for, then you can go ahead and make the change on the site. But if you're talking about a larger project that has more impact, then you need to do the testing. So the same thing with the URLs as well. So that's what we've been doing. Yeah.
Amazing. Ammad, are you doing any testing?
I recently did some testing for the schema markup for a client, and because the site was quite big, so we were not able to deploy the schema on entire website. So we went on to choose some few pages from each template to see if they rendered the rich results and how it improved the CTR and stuff. The results were good, so that gave us a good signal that obviously we can use that technical SEO aspect on the other important pages as well. There was another test that we did was using the title tag, improving the title tag with the brand name. And that really helped us get our brand name across and improve our brand searches as well, using that particular keyword in the title, particularly because before the title and H1 was exactly the same. So it was an opportunity for us to see if how Google interprets that if the title goes beyond. But however, it was quite good to see that Google did not intricate that title, but included the entire brand name in the title as well. So these kind of small tests can show you how you can leverage a good SERP visibility or brand voice in the search results. There are many other things that you can do, and based on your niche or on your industry, like you moving the content from above top to bottom, or moving the sign up from top to bottom, or moving different CTA styles. These are testing that you can do, but obviously it is good if the website is quite big to do a test on a small portion. But if the website is quite small, then obviously you can, let's say 10 pages, you can simply run across the entire website and see how it impacts. You will get the results quickly on that.
Amazing. Joe, what about yourself?
Those are all great answers. I'm just going to share what people have shared in the chat regarding testing. So Simon says that he recommends SEOtesting.com. Very useful, which he had an affiliate link. Monse is testing some AI tools, itida.com and coframe.ai. So we'll see on those. Idris is talking about, he's normally testing in batches. So turning the tag pages to entity pages, because the site is big, we picked just 10 to work with in mind to the effect. So similar to what Sabiha said about doing testing for small page, or not doing it for everything, testing how it works, and then implement it across the site. Chris has said that testing can be a pain when you feel like it's hard to fit in, but the pain of not doing these tests and getting bad results can cause a lot more pain. So test in doubt. If you're not busy, run that test. Yeah, thank you everyone for your input.
Great. I agree with Simon on SEOtesting.com. I started using it however long ago, and now anytime I make a change, I just register it as a new test just to see what's happening. So the beginning of the question, or the first question, was just what is it? And just to let you know, because it's different to sort of conversion rate optimization. With SEO testing, you're making physical changes to your actual website and seeing the impact in the search results and to traffic and so on. And basically you can do it in 2 ways. One is effectively taking a page template and making a change to half of them. So say, for instance, you're a travel website, you might change half of your location pages and see the difference. Or you can do a before and after if you've got a smaller site, or maybe you don't have as many of the same pages. If I'm honest, it's not perfect, particularly the before and after, because for instance, right now there's a core update running and you wouldn't know all my tests are completely wrong and irrelevant, because who knows whether it's the core update or if it's that amazing idea I had for the website. But so that's what it is. But the great thing is, I guess when you record a change that you make in something like SEOtesting.com, is you can actually see whether that's made a difference or not. And for instance, if you're going from, say, a branded, fun title to something that's more SEO focused because you're trying to rank for a particular term, and it doesn't make any kind of difference, then you can switch back to that sort of fun title that you had. That's just a very basic version. But for instance, our travel person that wanted to test migrations, you could move some of the URLs and see on something like SEO testing. So it's really simple to do. We also had Tom Anthony from Search Pilot on last year. And on their website, they've got tons of case studies that will give you loads of ideas for different SEO tests. The one thing I would say is when it comes to things like case studies, what works for that website and those users and so on might not work for yours. So I wouldn't just read one of their case studies and go, great, we're going to change our title tags to this, or we're going to start using structured data because it's going to mean that our website's traffic is going to grow by 30% because you're going to be disappointed. It's just based on those users, those websites. But it's great. It's a really cool area. Right, how long have we got? Oh, we've got time. We're good.
Yeah, I've got another comment from Simon, which is very useful. He said, when testing, keep a drive all the changes to the site in a Google Sheet, just somewhere that's accessible. And another point that I don't think we mentioned, but if you are going to do a test, make sure that everybody's on board. So everyone in the company, the key stakeholders, and do it at a certain time period. If you're an e-commerce site, of course, you're not going to do it like Black Friday weekend, or you're obviously around Christmas, or it depends which country you're living in. Because in Australia, for example, they do this whole Christmas in July, and they sell a lot more, they do a lot more sort of presents around that time, and it's a lot more festive. So just make sure that you keep a diary and you have everybody on board and you have a good time plan.
The other thing I would quickly add is just for anybody that does CRO as well, I would run an SEO test alongside any kind of CRO test, because sometimes people make changes from a CRO perspective and conversion rates go up, but traffic doesn't necessarily go up. It can also go the other way. And so I like to run both A/B tests and also SEO tests at the same time, just to verify and make sure it doesn't have a bad impact. Because it's so easy to increase conversion rate, moving tons of content and just making the buy now button bigger. But if you've got hardly anyone going to that page anymore, then that's not great. Okay, next question. I wouldn't know if this works for your panel sessions, but I have a huge difficulty growing in the field of SEO and content marketing. I hear that technical SEO and technical writing are basically the things now, and I've been pivoting for so long, it's almost tiring. What are your best growth tips that you can offer me at the moment? Because God knows I've tried. PS, I'm Nigerian and live there. I switched careers from having a master's level in civil engineering to content marketing, and it's been one very tough ride. Can we help? And who's got some ideas?
Yeah, I mentor quite a lot of people from Africa, and I see that the SEOs there are energetic, active, they're so driven. And I think it's amazing. And I think what I see in the people I've met is that they just want to learn everything. It's like, should I jump into local SEO, or should I jump into SEO, or should I jump into technical SEO? What do you advise? And I think just take it a step at a time. Look at what interests you the most first. Give it some time and have some patience, be good at it, and don't switch over so fast unless it's really something that is not working for you. But give it time, give it patience, and hopefully and then there's like this SEO career ladder. I think there are quite a few references online where you can find them, where if you start off with certain aspects of SEO and you can build into something else, or technical SEO or AI or data analytics and more of the strategic part of SEO. I think Tori does stuff like that, where she has built that career ladder for people. So I think just give it some time and don't be so hard on yourself. Just take it a step at a time, build a plan, look at yourself 10 years from now and see what you want to achieve, and start from there, and then work backwards. Because every skill is important at some part of SEO. It's not like technical SEO is more important than content. There are totally different roles. Yeah, they help each other, with regard to site performance, but they are different roles. Content is different and technical SEO is different. So look at really what skills that you have and what role would suit you the best. And don't get frustrated, just have patience and then make that career ladder for yourself. So that's where I would start. And you're a civil engineer, you can actually create your own niche. You can get into content writing or focus on the engineering sector and look at expanding your expertise there, because I'm a biotechnologist turned marketer. So I was first started off doing genetic engineering in a lab, and now I'm in marketing. I own my own digital agency. So now I target STEM companies. I target biotechnology companies because I understand their business. And then I tell them what they need to do in terms of digital marketing and SEO. So maybe you could use both of those skills that you have and be amazing in the sector of engineering. So I would really look at planning out your career. Don't get frustrated.
I would say that's a really good point, Sabiha, for what you said there. And I'd also like to add that you could actually focus on like B2B. Nisa Digital is focused on B2B brands, correct?
B2B life sciences and agricultural sciences.
Okay,
so we have healthcare, we have an infection control company, we have an agriculture company into post-harvest technology, and we have biotechnology equipment manufacturer. So,
yes. So that's amazing, as you said, use your experience to build the company. But what I'd also like to say to the person that submitted the question is try and stick with one person. If you keep changing around, you become I don't like this expression so much, the jack of all trades, but the master of none. And it can feel a lot of pressure to make sure like, oh, I need to go into technical guests. Now I need to go to content writing. I think if you're not good at content writing, don't push yourself there. I've been more of a broad shaped, I would say, or multi-skill shaped SEO. I've covered everything except for going to technical like log file analysis or doing content writing, although I have written for my blog. But I'm not going to then go into that because something that doesn't come as naturally to me, and I focus on the other aspects. I can appreciate where you're saying you're calling in from. It may be a bit more difficult to try and to get the jobs, but I would focus on what Sabiha said and look at the B2B and try and actually find out what you're good at. Also within SEO, it can be account management, project management, with a deep dive into, for example, on-page SEO and keyword research in your sector. So yeah, don't get despondent, although I appreciate, yes, it can be very difficult.
Great advice. Ahmed, have you got anything to add?
I can't agree more than what Sabiha said. She has summed up everything so nicely. I'll simply say I also did my postgraduate master's, and I never knew I will end up in SEO, but realizing that I'm in SEO, my degree complements that area of expertise. So if you use your expertise in civil engineering, and as Sabiha said, use SEO to show up your expertise out there in the market, you will definitely do a good job. However, one thing I will advise, if you are so keen to do technical SEO blogging, you can only get success by doing some experiments, because there's a lot of technical SEO content out there already. And if you want to stand out, experiments will be good enough. I am also learning technical SEO from last 2-3 years, but I haven't touched the blog side yet because I feel like I will be writing the same thing that is already out there. So if you want to be distinctive, experiments will be your good friends. Otherwise, your degree is good enough to highlight you in the market, and you can start your own consultancy business using SEO. So go for it. I will recommend to go for it. I'm like you anyway, because I try to go for local SEO, international SEO, and that really intimidate you that, okay, you're lacking in this side, choose one side and go 100% on that. And definitely you will shine in the market for that.
Great advice. Total jack of all trades here. If you look at our website, we've got like a million different services that we offer. And I've worked from anybody with universities through to, I don't know, hair extensions through to whatever. So I guess I come at it from another end, but that's because I get excited. I get bored and excited about different things. And also it depends what opportunities come to me. But at the other side of that, because I took away from this question, so you've taken from this that it's more about the work itself. I thought that maybe this was down to actually struggling to get clients. Did anybody else take that, or?
Yeah, maybe it's about just about clients or getting a job.
Yeah, I think that's where that niche is important as well, especially for content writing. A lot of the B2B clients look for people in the industry and they look at people who have that a background at least. And if you're in STEM, like engineering, then it really helps. It's rightly what I guess Monse has said in the chat. It's about look at product marketing companies in engineering field. Exactly. That's how we target our STEM clients as well, looking at content generation from that niche. So I think once you really analyze what your skills are and how you can benefit like a niche sector like civil engineering, construction, etc., then you can probably add more value to that sector and hopefully you'll get more leads. So I think try that way. It will take time, but yeah, I opened a company 2 years ago, so we don't get rich overnight. It takes time. So have patience with yourself and keep a focused plan and you will get there.
And also, I think with SEO, you also learn a lot from failures as much as successes and all of those things. So, particularly on the technical side, I think unless you've experienced somebody phoning you and explaining that a migration's gone wrong or something's happened, and they're making decisions about making redundancies and all of those things, I think it's really hard to take a checklist from a website or from a course. You've got to really experience it, and so like Simon said, break things and learn, and also do things for yourself. Okay, cool. Are you happy if I jump to another question?
Yeah, I was just saying that there's a lot of people saying like focus on technical SEO, build the websites. Chris is saying that learning technical SEO really helped him, but don't just get despondent and just focus on something that you're good at and it comes naturally to you.
Great. This is probably not the best time to start this because I like to put the regular question at the end, but we'll just go for it and see how we get on. How to make an almost dead site alive? Is it possible? Ahmed, you're smiling. Is it possible to bring something back to life?
I'll give you a very generic answer. It depends.
It
But I think
depends.
the thing is, if we make it more clear what is meant by dead side, like if it's not been working for like 6 months, nothing is done on it, it's nothing like a dead side. The moment you start working on it, you will start getting some kind of even one impression will tell you that you have done something right. So just couple those actions and you will definitely improve on that. There is nothing like dead unless there is a manual action by Google or it has been penalized by Google. There's something different you can talk about. But if the website is like sitting idle for like 10 years, you can start after 10 years on that side and start building content by using the latest practices rather than 10 years old. So
Yeah.
that's what I will think of how to work on that side. But unless it's a penalized one, that's a different question.
Great. Sabiha, can you bring a dead website to life?
Yes, terms and conditions apply. But if it's something that's penalized, then it's just dealing with that. But if it's just taking a step back, evaluating, do some audits, see where the issues are, and then work from there. You could even start from the branding. Is the company in the right direction with regards to the website? What was the website supposed to do for them? It could be that the overarching objectives of the business is not aligned with what the website is supposed to deliver. So take a look at that, start from the big picture, and then look at the content and the site structure and the target audience, and then look at some of the technical aspects and content. So that's how I would start and approach that problem.
Great. Joe, do you have anything to add?
I have nothing else to add. We need to answer the first question and also our regular.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one. Okay.
So I've just added it in here. So the question was, I was wondering if you have any recommendations of job boards that you've had success with for a part-time marketing manager where SEO is essential. Now, I read it as someone's looking for this, but you read it as the other way. Someone's posting and wants to get candidates.
I know the person that asked us the question, and they're basically
right.
they're looking for somebody to do SEO. They're like a marketing manager role, and they want to know where to post it, basically. Yeah.
So I would say SEOjobs.com. That's Nick Leroy. He owns that, but also sharing communities like Women Tech SEO, and I'm part of Digital Marketing Union as well. Those are the two main ones that I'm part of. Just looking at a few other ones.
I've got
Mujeres in SEO.
work in startups. That's somewhere that I've looked before, and obviously LinkedIn. If you want a recruiter, I think Clockwork Talent. If they seem to be at like SEO events and things like that. What about you guys? If you were recruiting for somebody, where would you look or where would you post?
I would start with the communities because there are a lot of people who are talking about what they do. And rather than going with somebody, a complete stranger, I look at people who are talking about what they're doing and approaching them and seeing if they would be interested. And then I go outside the community. So I think the communities really help, at least from a hiring point of view. For me, I see what are their strengths and weaknesses. It's easier to identify their strengths and weaknesses because of the fact that they are talking about what they do. And I feel that communities are a very genuine place to start because of the fact that you have to maintain certain behaviors and the type of content you put out there. And it's more trustworthy than just looking for people online. If they don't meet your requirement, then you have to go through the whole recruitment process and then screen and things like that. But I tell you, 2 people in my agency are from the communities I've been part of. TS, I hired one girl from WTS, and I also hired a person from FCDC, and they're doing great, amazing team members. Yeah.
Amazing. Ahmed, I'm sorry, we've run out of time. Did you have anywhere in mind or?
No, I haven't been into that situation yet, but I think Sabiha has summed up nicely, so I will go with that and keep in mind for my long run as well.
Amazing. I think SEO FOMO also have jobs, so you could share it with those guys. Okay, thank you so much, everybody. Thank you to our speakers. Thank you to the people that joined us live. Thank you to those who submitted questions. Joe, thank you so much for co-hosting. And thank you to those watching it on YouTube. We will just finish with 1 or 2 words what you're most excited about in terms of SEO. Ahmed, what are you most excited about in terms of SEO?
The most excited thing about SEO is like it is always evolving. It's not like you learn these things and you are good to go. Another best thing about SEO is like since Google is updating regularly since the last couple of years, so it is getting rid of those SEOs who have been posing a threat to the SEO industry as a bad industry or bad people out there in the marketing profession. So this is something I'm quite excited about and how things are progressing, and only few top-notch SEOs are available in the market. This is a good news to see. It's like a purging of SEO industry is happening this time.
Amazing. Sabiha, what are you most excited about in terms of SEO?
I'm going to be on a podcast, I think, in a couple of weeks. So look out for that. It's about managing stakeholders, internal, external. I hope you'll find it useful. It's with Dasmeen Suleiman, an amazing coach and mentor, and she's been very active helping SEOs excel in their careers, helping them to manage their stress. And I think we recorded one just last week. So just keep an eye out on LinkedIn for when that is posted.
And is that the SEO Mindset podcast?
Yes.
Yeah, it
Yes.
is. Okay, definitely
Yes.
listen for that one. I love that podcast.
Yeah.
Right, we should go. Joe, you're going to say events, I know already.
Yes,
so,
I will. Thank you, everyone, for coming today.
Yeah, sorry, this is the first time we've ever run over, but I could listen to you guys all day. I'll see you. Have a great weekend. Have a great bank holiday. And thank you, everybody, for taking part.
Thank you. See you.
Bye-bye.